Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, a story was developing that everyone must know. Most people think it began in Bethlehem of Judea, when the baby Jesus, the Christ child, did appear. Allow us, if you would, in this unprecedented time, to convey unto you this message in a rhyme, aided on our way by local stars of drama, set in the local village, the village known as Kwama. We'll begin within the house of the bemused. It's where young Mary lives, and her parents are confused. Mary's trying to explain about the dream she's had. You can tell by look on faces that they're none too glad. Told by an angel you're pregnant, not even a proper test, and you chosen among women, and then you call it blessed. Mary's dad was a bit astounded. He could hardly face the fact. Her mum was all emotional, as well as a bit gobsmacked. So Mary sought some solitude to ponder in her heart. How to tell her boyfriend was a problem for a start. Little did she know Joseph too had had a dream, and to him had been revealed some details of the scheme. So here we find Joseph, a carpenter by trade. He's often quite perplexed when his hammer he's mislaid. But today it's fair to say he's absolutely dumbfounded. His betrothed is expectant. Well, he's just astounded. He knows he must start planning for the big event. Best load up the donkey and probably pack a tent. Need to book paternity leave last fortnight in December, when most unlike the average man, he suddenly remembers. A census has been ordered by Prime Minister Caesar Augustus, right on Mary's due date. Doesn't seem like justice. He's going to have to travel back to his hometown, to Bethlehem of Judea. It's enough to make you frown. So Joseph gets his Mary and they begin to wander. Travelling on a donkey, goes by the name of Honda. Mary's on the donkey and Joseph takes the lead. In Mary's advanced condition, they cannot go at speed. It soon becomes apparent that they must stop for the night. So Joseph keeps his eye out for a good level campsite. Mary gets off the donkey with a fairly awkward descent, and along with Joseph they try to erect a tent. To me, to you, to me, hold this, hold that, says Joe. When it comes to tent erection, there's lots of to and fro. Poor Mary in her condition, she's really in a spin. She says to Joe, this is no use. I think we should find an inn. OK, says Joe, I'll have a look, see what there is about here. But remember, this is a budget production. It's not exactly Shakespeare. I'll check out TripAdvisor, he said as he got out his phone. Where to stay in Kwama? What is in this zone? Well, there's a nice one-bedroom cottage known as Old Hat Factory. By what it says on here, it would be satisfactory. They've even got a hot tub that's always nice and warm. Says as an added bonus, it's got broad something barn. Sounds quite promising, don't you think? Especially that hot tub would be quite a treat for us. A bit like a country club. Let's see if there's any room. In December, if it's free. December, today's date and year. Oh no, no vacancy. There's another place a bit farther on. Cottages at Notts. Complete with all electrics, 240 watts. Tastefully it's furnished with all the finest yarn. And just like the other one, they've got barn. Like the sound of that electric. Have we got enough 50p's? Rooms don't look so big, so it could be a bit of a squeeze. Let's see if there's any room in December, if it's free. December, today's date. Oh, not again. No vacancy. Hold on, across the valley, a place called Roughton Brook. A couple of little cottages nestled in the nook. You'll never guess what they say. It's becoming like a yarn. I know, says Mary. What they say is they say they've got a barn. What is it with these barns? Some sort of overflow? That when they're fully booked, it is a place to go. Surely one of these cottages, please, Lord, let it be free. December, today's date and year. Oh, no, not again. No vacancy. So, back on the donkey. all dejected. It's not been a very good day. And there in the distance, a very large mansion, just along the way. Round the corner, there's a door. We knock on it, and a grumpy-looking man comes out, and we ask him if there's a room. Joseph says, "That's our plan." The grumpy man gets out his file and begins to check the chart. "It's not looking good, I'm afraid," he says with heavy heart. "Room 1 is nice. Its colour scheme is based on watermelon, but currently it's occupied by a girl named Ellen. Room 2's not bad, although I must say looks a little shabby, and it's currently occupied by a girl named Abby. Room 3's, well, it's not safe. Someone in there went and broke their tibia, and besides, there's someone in there, a girl by the name of Lydia. Room 4, no, that's the best. Some say it's like a palace, but we've got somebody special in there, a princess by the name of Alice. Room 5 is very popular as it's next to the bathroom, but I'm afraid it's taken by another girl named Catherine." Well, the only thing I have, where I'm sure you'd take no harm, it would be warm and dry and cosy, it's out there in the barn. Mary looked at Joseph, and Joseph lifted his eyes. Surely God's son born in a barn? Well, that would be a surprise. So on their way they go to find a place to stay. Mary's growing anxious, the baby's on the way. No one, it seems, has any room, inconvenient or unable. Seems like all that's out there is a byre, barn or stable. Worn out with the journey and feeling quite dejected, no room anywhere to stay, these people are rejected. Round the back, in the yard, is their only proposition, a farmyard stable. Well, it's no place for Mary in her condition. So wearily they trudge their way over the old farm cobbles. It's not ideal, but it'll have to do. No time for any squabbles. So there in a stable, humbly they settle and take their rest. Little did they know that night the world would be greatly blessed. Meanwhile, over yonder, high up on fell where it's steep, some shepherds were a-keeping a watch amongst their sheep. The old wily shepherds were telling their tales of shepherd and sheep folklore. There wasn't very much that these old stoic boys had not come across before. Shepherding is a skill that is learnt from birth, that's what they say. You can tell a young shepherd anywhere. It's in his DNA. They're fearless, skillful, resourceful, clever, single-minded and brave, and while tending the lambs, dedicated they are, that they never have time for a shave. Back home there'll be young shepherds dreaming of the day when they too can go up fell with their terramycin spray. Talk all day in shepherd speech, by that's a grand looking tub. And when's the dog expecting? I really wouldn't mind a pup. Meanwhile back in lambing shed, head shepherd's having a nap, when YTS comes bursting in and gives head shepherd a tap. He won't wake up, so the YTS then begins to yell, "There's something quite extraordinary going on up on fell." 1 minute it was dark, only moonlight in old Yow's eyes, when suddenly a light from heaven lights up across the skies. 1 minute all was quiet, and then a heavenly sound, where once was mundane and boring, all glory shone around. 1 minute those shepherds were busy watching the ewes, when suddenly they're startled, a heavenly host with heavenly news. "Fear not," said they, "for mighty dread had seized their troubled minds. Glad tidings of great joy I bring to you and all mankind. To you in David's town this day is born of David's line a Saviour who is Christ the Lord, and this shall be a sign." The shepherds were astounded. They all lay on the ground. The angels of the Lord had spoke, and glory shone around. Slowly the shepherds rose to their feet, they could hardly take it in. A Saviour of the world is born, to save the world from sin. "Come now, let's go and see this child, just as the angels say." So off they went down from the fell, to Christ they made their way. Meanwhile in the east there were 3 men known as wise. They watched the world with knowledge, and with their open eyes they saw the signs around them that a great new king was born. They knew that they must travel to see this happy morn. They prepared to make a journey to find the newborn king. Gold and frankincense and myrrh were the gifts to bring. Leaving all they knew behind, they journeyed to the prize. Finding the King Jesus, that was what made them wise. They weren't sure what type of transport, a tractor, a bike, or a car. They just knew they were to be guided by a shining star. Good job their eyes were open and they knew where to look. Made their way to Bethlehem by star and not guidebook. They almost made the journey, but stopped a little short. Thought they'd seek some counsel in King Herod's court. Excuse us, King, could you tell us where the new king is to be? For we have brought our gifts for him, and to bow the knee. Little did they realise an error they had made. King Herod had an angry face, and the wise men were afraid. Go and find this king, he said, the one who must be first, and tell me where this child shall be, and I will do my worst. These men were men of God, and that was what made them wise. They recognised that Herod was the devil in disguise. He would have murdered Christ, but this was not the time, and yet that day would come when that would be the crime. The three wise men resumed their search, guided by the star. Away they went from palatial courts. The journey was bizarre. Away from all that you'd expect for a birthplace of a king, to a place not made for humans, let alone a king. So these cobbled yards are trod by shepherds and the wise. Among the sound of animals are heard the Christ child's cries. The stable door is open, the light is there to see. The shepherds peep into the light, and the wise men three. For in this humble stable Christ the King was born. For Mary and for Joseph a dream was earthly born. The shepherds and the wise man were the invited guests to see the Christ child Saviour, in who the world is blessed. What is this light in darkness that draws us to this scene? The light hoped for in ages past, the prophets had foreseen. The centre point of history, behind a stable door, our God contracted to a span. Oh come, let us adore. While we gaze upon this scene like the shepherd and the wise, he bids us come and meet him, come and see him with our eyes. The door is low and we must bow so we can enter in and meet the Saviour Jesus, who came to save from sin.